Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW Dynamite are still dealing with the reign of terror of Moxley and the rest of, I don't know if we can call them the BCC, but things are going to get a little worse as for AEW talent are going up in arms, in fact, to, of course, deal with it. But a lot of things were also taking place. As you know, the feud between Camille and Chris Statlander continues. And of course, Private Party's latest plans after losing to the Elite and many other things. We're going to go from that. But first things first, we're going to review the latest Stardom show in Fuji, featuring many matches, including some prelims we know it's going to happen, such as, of course, the high speed title between Mai Sakurai and, of course, Yuna Mizumori. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys update on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but places like Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, I believe it's time to rock and roll. So let's begin with Stardom. Okay, Stardom in Fuji. This took place recently this past weekend on October 20th. Now, of course, nothing too significant, but we do have two things. There is a bit of a battle royale for a number one contendership who will be part of the number one contendership for the New Japan Strong Women's title. So we'll get to that too. But let's get from start to the finish. Our first match is a three-way match. We have Rian versus Sayaka Kurara versus Hina. Now, of course, as you all know, these ladies have, well, Hina would like to say that she has the much better experience than Sayaka and Rian combined. But of course, Rian is the most likely the one who hasn't picked up her first win because she only's been out for a couple of months. But of course, a lot of people have given a lot of props to Kurara, who has been very, very standing out. Not to mention her spears, but it was her spear, in fact, that allowed her to pick up her win against Rian. And of course, there was a moment I saw in the post-match comments that Rian said she was supposed to debut with Kurara, Rana Yagami, Yuzuki, until they all went their separate ways to their own. But we'll see what happens. But as for Kurao, I'm sure she's happy she got her groove a little back. But we'll see what happens to the next. Our next match, we have of course a three-way tag match. First, we have from Hate, Rina and Natsuko Tora versus EXV's Waka Tsukiyama and Maika versus Godzai, Rana Yagami, and Shuri. So, of course, there are certain factors of this match. Now, remember, Rana Yagami and Lady C issued a challenge for the New Blood Tag Team titles currently Rina has. So that can play out. But Waka Tsukiyama, as you know, recently lost in the New Blood event, not obtaining the tag team belts, refused to give up. But of course, this is about building up the momentum on that particular part. And the person who did that was Yagami when she pinned Rina. So basically, that is a good indication that she's going to build up momentum for her and her tag partner until the next match they'll have for that title. Now, our next match, we have a another tag match, but just regular one. We have Hate consistent of Sayaka Mitani and Momo Watanabe taking on Star members. Excuse me. Star members, Momo Kogo and Saya Ida. Now, of course, we all know that during times we have seen Hate conduct dirty tactics and all that in every way possible. But, however, it was Kamitani with the Star Crusher on Momo Kogo that allowed her to pick up the win. And of course, they put out a promo. I don't know exactly what they put, but I'm sure that, of course, you all know that Momo Watanabe is defending the. No, she's not defending it. Yeah, she'll be getting a. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they said, but we will see. Now our next match is a battle royale for who wants to who's going to participate in the New Japan Strong Women's title #1 contendership taking place at the Spirit Unleashed. So let me go who actually participated. We have Raka, Konami, Lady C, Starlight Kid, Koguma, Azuki, Sayori Anu, and Hanako. Now, of course, some of you may think, okay, there are factors of this match you would think. Of course, there's no secrets that Raka and Konami will cheat their way through, which is very common. You look at Lady C, well, I cannot say that Lady C is going to win it, but we have seen her improve little by little. But Starlight Kid, of course, her popularity is in question. And then, of course, there's Koguma and Azuki. We all know they will team up most of the time because A, they're like sisters. They're from the same Fukuoka region, as you all know. Sari Anu, obviously, we all know her reputation, and of course, Hanako. However, how this played out, well, this one ended with a very interesting twist. Koguma and Azuki, in fact, secured their spot in the #1 contendership at Fighting Spirit Unleashed. But of course, Hate were intending to steal it, but it backfired. So good thing it didn't go in that direction. But yeah. Now our main event, we have Neo Genesis consistent of Miyu Amasaki, Suzuki, and Meiseda versus the Cosmic Angels, Yuna Mizumori, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. Now, of course, it's very interesting. Now, some of you may question about where was Aya Sakura. Well, we all know where she was. She was still, in fact, participating in Sendai Girls, which I reviewed recently, and she did not win that match. We all know where Azumi is. She went across the Atlantic, or she just went on the other side of the world to the UK to participate in Global Wars UK. But however, this was also a bit of a prelim to Mai Sita and Yuna Mizumori. Remember, Yuna Mizumori won the #1 contendership in the Battle Royale for a shot of the high speed belt. And that kind of plays out. We know that Mizumori picked up a huge win when she pinned her. Last time, of course, it was Mai Sita, but this time, let's see who builds up the momentum. So everything went well, but however, it was Mai Sita who picked up the win by doing the Rolling Star of Mizumori. So until then, Mizumori has a bit of a short time in order to get herself prepared for a high-speed match. And of course, recently there was a video where she was practicing with Natsupoi on this one because, as you all know, Natsupoi is a former high-speed champion, so it plays out pretty well. So we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we are done here with Stardom. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. As you all know, Jon Moxley, along with, well, as I said, we don't know if we call them the BCC or not because that's not what they're calling themselves. But let's just call them that for now until things have changed. As you know, AEW roster are now putting themselves in arms due to the fact that Moxley is giving them the warning either join them or be stomped because he felt that now AEW needs to change for the better. So that kind of plays it out. And of course, the roster, some of the members of the roster were in outdoor waiting for their arrival. So basically, that was what's going on. Now, we do see a bit of a promo with Hangman Page talking about what he did. As you know, ever since then, he took out the members of the Bang Bang Gang. First was Austin Gunn, and then Colton, his brother, showed up to deal with it. And of course, we had Jay White and Juice try to make the save in order to punish Hangman for what he's been causing. Not to mention, I'm sure Jay White was not happy with the fact that his match that he had with Christian Cage lost. So basically, that's what's happening. But he did say that he will deal with him sooner or later. Now, our next match, we have Sammy Guevara versus Shelton Benjamin. Now, this is a match that, of course, will put Sammy Guevara to the test. Those who know this or not, Shelton Benjamin was a wrestler that Sammy Guevara idolized. And I think there's a picture of him as a kid when he first met him. So basically, like the old saying goes, never meet your heroes, that sort of thing. So I think that would put him to the test on that. However, you would think that Sammy, who's a bit more younger, a bit more faster and agile, would pick up the win. But when it comes to Shelton Benjamin being who he is, that's a different story. But Shelton Benjamin picked up a powerful win with a power slam, solidifying his presence in AEW. Now, we do see an interview with Renee Paquette talking with Mariah May. As you know, Mariah May is not happy with the fact that she lost the Eliminator match. She's declaring that Anna Jay doesn't belong in AEW. Now, she may not have been with AEW that long, but she was there from the time, of course, of Daly's Place, and that made her solidify. Of course, Anna Jay was not going to take it, so she attacked her. So this is going to be a very interesting part. Now, for a while, we asked ourselves why did Kyle Fletcher did what he did, attacking Will Ospreay. Well, Kyle Fletcher kind of put certain points. He talked about Okada, talking about how he was like a brother to him, who was the one who brought him from the UK to Japan, and what did he do in return? Stab in the back. Kenny Omega, he tells him that when Kenny left, you stepped up, but you couldn't fill his shoes. So there was a lot of things. And then, of course, people were telling Kyle Fletcher is like Will Ospreay. So this is more of telling the story. I'm stepping out of the shadows. So he kind of shaved his head, sending a direct message. So I see what will happen. But he hopes that Will Ospreay will never come back. But he should underestimate that Will Ospreay will come back and he will have some unfinished business with him. Now, we do see a bit of an interview with Ricochet. Now, as you all know, the promotion, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, the Canadian promotion that Scott D'Amore revived, Ricochet talked about what he did. As you know, he wants another opportunity of getting his hands on Takeshita. So that was pretty much it. And then, out of nowhere, MVP and Shelton Benjamin showed up. I'm not sure if they're attempting to recruit, but I want to point out something. If you guys remember, not too long ago during the time of the pandemic, we saw that scene where the Hurt Business were attempting to get their hands on Ricochet, but they failed to do so. So we'll see what happens, how that story progresses. Now, our next match, we have Brian Cage and Lance Archer versus the Pillars of Destiny, Hunter Gray and Paravix. I don't know who's who, but as you know, their ultimate goal, Cage and Lance Archer, as part of the Don Callis family, the what they're their goal is to obtain the AEW World Tag Team titles. So they seem like the most likely guys that could pull it off, but they were able to defeat one of the guys by putting in a power bomb, and Cage picked up the win. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, as you all know, we did see not too long ago, Orange Cassidy refuses to step up as the leader, but Chuck Taylor, as you know, been working with AEW in the backstage scene after he injured himself. he went to have a little chat with Orange Cassidy, telling him he needs to step up. So basically, it was more like he's trying to tell him, look, these guys need you. You have to step up. So basically, that's what he's saying. Now, our next match is the ROH World Title in a ladder match. Now, as you know, Jericho, not too long ago, was declaring that what happened at Wrestle Dream, he called Mark Briscoe that he cheated. Bullshit. Yeah, so basically he's saying that, which we all know is not true. So, of course, like any other type, Brian Keefe showed up, but Kyle Riley took care of his scrawny butt. And then, of course, Big Bill showed up, and that allowed for Chris Jericho to win and become El Nueve. However, his party was interrupted by the return of Ishii, which is the last thing he expected. So he was on his knees, like saying, "Why, God, why? Why?" Yeah, crying like a big baby with big diapers. So, so he has to deal with that. Now, we did see a promo with Adam Cole, who we haven't seen for quite some time. So, of course, he was talking about MJF, but it appears that they have a very common factor. The Undisputed Kingdom, more consistently with Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett, they all have a common factor. Basically, they want to get their hands on MJF to finish what they started. However, of course, MJF, who is dubbed in the past as Salt of the Earth, wasn't present. So basically, that was the whole point. But he said he's not going to be there until Full Gear. So he said he doesn't care who will be the one to get the opportunity to get him. And that was, of course, if it's either Roderick Strong or Adam Cole. So he said, all you guys need to do is pick up 3 wins and I'll be there. But I won't be there until then. So that's what he put it out. Now, of course, we see another interview with Renee Paquette talking with Jamie Hayter. Now, of course, Jamie Hayter, well, let's just say, you can say, she's like saying, Penelope, like, you're all talk about this, saying that, you bust your ass and all that other stuff. So, Jamie Hayter was not surprised that she wasn't there. But she said that she's going to give her, of course, a chance to get even with her 2 weeks' time. So we'll see where that goes. Our next match, we have the House of Black. Buddy Matthews, Brody King, and Malachi Black taking on 3 guys, Kevin Koa, Jaden Moore, and Pirata de la Muerte. This match ended, of course, with the House of Black winning the match when Matthews stomped Monroe. And then, of course, we did see a promo with Buddy Matthews, and he called out Adam Cole. Now, of course, this really got the attention, and Renee Paquette went to talk to Adam Cole about what she's saying, about what Buddy Matthews said. So he decided, instead of saying it, he just goes up to him and talked to him. Wanted to know, coming out of, like the old saying goes, the horse's mouth. So, of course, he tells him that he's fragile. Now, I don't know what that meant, that he's fragile. So, that is like a very interesting statement to go out. Now, we did see, of course, Camille versus Queen Aminata. I have to say Queen Aminata hold out her own, but the one thing that was interesting, Tony Schiavone made a good, excellent observation. There haven't been anybody that attempted to put the pinfall. Now, I'm not saying the pinfall was counted, but more like the setting of it, putting Camille in a pinfall position. And it turns out Queen Aminata might have been the first. So, however, that didn't do any well because Camille was able to put her in somewhat of a modified inverted DDT, and just like that, it was over. However, post match, Chris Statlander showed up, and then of course Chris Statlander had her back turned, and just like that, she got beat up. So the real question is, does Chris Statlander has what it takes to defeat Camille? We'll see. Now, of course, while the AEW roster are awaiting the arrival of Jon Moxley and the BCC, Christian Cage shows up, acting like he thinks he's a big shot and all of that. And then, of course, they don't care. They just tell him to leave. They don't want nothing to do with them. They want Jon Moxley. But I am a little curious about this because I do know what does Jon Moxley think of Christian Cage, who still has that contract? I'm sure he doesn't want him to challenge for the belt or something. I don't know. But however, while that was happening, they got wind of Kip Sabian. They chased him to the ring. However, that's when things got a little interesting. Hook said that he has video footage on who attacked his dad. Now, of course, he runs to the ring saying that he's going to deal with them. Hook hold on his own, and then Kip Sabian low blowed him. So it looks more like Kip Sabian was trying to get the attention of Christian Cage. But the real question I think many of us are asking, did Christian Cage had anything to do with Taz's attack? We know that Christian Cage acts like he thinks that he's a better father to anybody. He did that already with Nick Wayne and Killswitch, but I don't think Taz is the type. I mean, Hook was the type who would turn on his dad. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our main event, we have Private Party and Daniel Garcia taking on the Elite. Now, of course, this match could have won by Private Party, but this match turned when Matt Jackson actually put Isaiah Cassidy in a inside cradle, winning the match. And then, of course, this is where the bombshell happened in the post match. Isaiah Cassidy is demanding for another shot of the tag belt, but that's when Isaiah gave something that I think the Elite are very proud of, that they heard it from him, saying that if they beat them, Private Party will disband. Of course, they were interested in that. They will love nothing more than to see them in the band. They did that already with SCU, and they did that with many others. But, of course, Quinn is not too sure about this. But while they had their backs turned, out of nowhere, here comes, of course, um, Marina Shafir by herself. Nobody knows what's happened. But Wheeler Yuta, Pac, and Claudio attacked them. So that's what happened. But that's not the worst part. Chuck Taylor shows up, intending to, of course, to hurt Chuck Taylor due to the fact of his friendship with Orange Cassidy, sending a direct message because he does not want him to step up. So basically, and then of course, what they did to Bryan Danielson back in All Out, well, they did it again with Chuck Taylor, and everybody came out too late. But Orange Cassidy was beside himself, like he cannot believe this is happening. So basically, right now, what's happening, Elite needs leaders to rise against Jon Moxley and the rest of the BCC. There was a picture where, of course, Daniel Garcia was telling Orange Cassidy about what he was saying. He needs to step up. So we'll see what happens until then. But we will see what happens on Rampage. But for now, we'll end things here and move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with, of course, with upcoming events. The GCW stuff, of course, is minimum on this one. Now, I do have a GCW update on this one. As you know, they will be in Hawaii in November for Hawaii Mania. 4 names have been announced that will be participating in that event. We have Gringo Loco, Officer Colt Cabana, Too Tough Tony, and Matt Cross. I'm sure there's pretty names that are announced, but we'll get to that. On the 9th of November for MLW's Lucha Apocalipto, we have the MLW National Openweight title will be defended. Bad Dude in a false count anywhere. Bad Dude Tito defends the title against Matthew Justice. Deadlock Pro Wrestling for their upcoming event on the 17th of November, the World's Strongest. Jake Something, who is now the new champion, will defend the belt against Donovan Dijak, formerly known as Dominic Dijakovic or just Dijak. And then, as you all know, WrestleMania will be in Las Vegas for 2025. The Collective is back, so they will be there, and they'll held their shows at the Palm Theater in the Palm Casino Resort between the 17th and the 19th of April. So if anybody is planning to attend those, stand by for your tickets to be displayed. So we'll see what they lead us from there. Now for some developments. As you know, certain promotions have signed deals with Thriller TV, formerly known as Fight TV. Progress Wrestling and Defy Wrestling have announced that they are now going to they signed a partnership with them. So this is good news for everybody. Now, this was a report that came out to Fightful Select. Now, as you all know, we do have many WWE haters, people who want the AEW to die. Well, Arn Anderson, defended them, despite he doesn't work for them. And I think many of you are going to question, what the hell, Arn? Those who want to see AEW die. And this is what he said. Who the hell would want to see AEW die? The company is going to get bigger and stronger. So, yeah, that's his words. So ask yourself, guys, if you honestly believe that AEW is going to die, whoever said that, whoever started this whole crap, they're saying that it's going to die. Arn Anderson doesn't believe so. So ask yourself, are you willing to have a debate argument with, of course, with the enforcer? I wouldn't, because he'll tear me apart. Now, the Wrestling Observer reports Hologram will be out of action for quite some time. He suffered an injury at Wrestle Dream, so that's the reason we won't see him. Now, also, Fightful Selects report they did an interview with Mai Sakurai. As you all know, Mai Sakurai recently talked about Julia, and she gave her a little bit of the things from Stardom, her difference from being there, now going to Mighty Gold, all of that. So check it out. So you guys should look into that. Now, Mina Shitakawa, as you know, people are questioning when she will deal with Mariah May. This is what she had to say. Let me pull it up real quick for all of you. Here it is. I was really happy when Mariah became the AEW Women's World Champion. As a former partner of Mariah's, I was so proud to see her hard work in Japan led her to emerge to the top as soon as after arriving in AEW. But the sparkling is fun going Mariah is gone. I believe I'm the only one who can bring Mariah back. I want the old Mariah back. I want the two of us, the team again, become the strongest women tag team in AEW. I can't wait to go back to see. So it's very interesting. So Mina Shirakawa has seen now that this is not the Mariah May she remembered back when she was in Stardom. So it's understandable that that's exactly what she's saying. Now, as you all know, Hanako spent a month here in the States, more specifically doing excursion. She even talked about, of course, training with Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, the same Shinsuke Nakamura we know in WWE. So, and she also trained with Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And she said this about the whole thing. In the United States, I had an opportunity to train with Nakamura, Io, and Kairi. They taught me a lot, starting from the basics such as importance of the body's center of gravity, and I was able to witness firsthand the greatest of the stars. So she learned a lot from three Japanese talent, even though they're with WWE and she's still in Japan. But she even talked about the move called this is the submission move she calls the Shirasagi, which is a move that Nakamura taught her. So this was she said. It was a move that Nakamura came up with in about 3 minutes. The cry that Nakamura makes, yows, and I apparently taken from the cry of an agret. The name of the move was taken from that. Uh, I will further hone this important move and grow through this league. I will definitely win with Maika-san. As you all know, Maika and Hanako are participating in this year's Goddess of Stardom. So basically, she got the idea exactly what Nakamura did with that move. So we'll see what happens down the road with her, and we'll see how her progress goes in World Tag in Tag League with her for that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have TNA and Ring of Honor. There are still some events I haven't been seeing as we speak. We do have the latest Mighty Gold event, but we'll see what happens until then. We know we had the much recent Evolution event and plenty other things, but we'll see how my time will progress because the following day I'm going to be doing some errands. They may hold me back a bit, but we'll let time tell how it's going to be. But for now, we'll leave things as it is, and until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.